Shalom Dammit! This is Rabbi Sol Solomon with a Rabbinical Reflection for Tony Time 2026. You would think artsy and progressive people would be so busy hating on Israel this year, they wouldn't have time to grease each other up and tell themselves how wonderful they are. But it's still nice that every June, Broadway makes time for a ceremony that honors quality work while advertising itself to the masses. The Tony Awards look back on the season's 30-something productions with categories like Best Play, Best Featured Actress in a Musical, Best Carpentry Design by a Transgender Kinesiologist on a Thursday. Obscure categories aside, Broadway can still be a magical place where art meets heart and the human condition is scrutinized through a kaleidoscope of perspectives and artistic techniques. I have no idea what the hell I just said, but I do know that the American theater has long been a home and haven for Jews, from the golden age of musicals up through Arthur Miller, Neil Simon, and, of course, me, with my own Shalom Dammit. Therefore, I keep tabs on the Jewish quotient of a Broadway season. Are Jewish themes explored on Broadway, especially at a time when anti-Semitism is the new ice bucket challenge? And are my people represented, I hope disproportionately? Well, we're off to a good start with The Balusters, David Lindsay-Abair's Tony-nominated play about friction in a diverse neighborhood. One main character is Ruth Ackerman, a wisecracking Jewish broad in the best stereotypical tradition. She's played by an Irish Catholic actress, but hey, that's diversity. The Balusters is up against Giant, a corrosive takedown of Roald Dahl. He's the genius of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, who in later years became a raving anti-Semite. Although this twit is played by lovable John Lithgow, the actor and play make no effort to soften or excuse Dahl's vileness. Now, if we can only get the media to do that with Susan Sarandon, we'd be getting somewhere. Also Tony-nominated is the very engaging and sometimes naked Liberation. Winner of this year's Pulitzer Prize, Liberation was penned by partial Jewess Bess Wall, who's raising her children Jewish. And it features a main character who's a former Orthodox Jew turned radical lesbian feminist. She's like a one-woman shtisel. One man is performing the Broadway show Every Brilliant Thing, and it's Tony-nominated Daniel Radcliffe. Just like Harry Potter, Radcliffe's a muggle, half Irish, half Jewish, and that's okay. I'm only half dressed. Made you look. Alas and alack, we're many years past the time when Broadway musicals were a cottage industry for Yidlach. That would be okay if the Goyim had supplanted those masterpieces with something better. But most recent tuners have been nothing to sing about. Only 3 Best Musical nominees this year have original scores, and the only Jewish thing about any of them is the name Shmigadoon. But, speaking of Jewish names, Shoshana Bean is Tony-nominated for Featured Actress for The Lost Boys, and she's up against Rachel Dratch for Rocky Horror. Also compensating for the absence of Abrahams in musicals is the Tony-nommed revival of Ragtime. The composers are Jewish, so was E.L. Doctorow, who wrote the novel. Since it's based on turn-of-the-century New York, Ragtime is rife with Yidden, Houdini, Emma Goldman, and Tata, a fictional immigrant who becomes a cinema mogul. Now, in the Ragtime movie, Tata was played by Mandy Patinkin. Pui! If I see him and his hag wife in one more pop-up ad shilling for Gaza, I'm going to vomit borscht. But we won't hold that against the Broadway show, especially since Ben Levy-Ross is a Tony nominee for featured actor, and Casey Shira Levy is up for lead actress. Her competition, by the way, includes the star of Titanic, the proudly Jewish Marla Mindell, born Marla Mindell Wiener. Well, I guess in this non-binary age, she wouldn't be the first girl to pull out her wiener. Okay. We must also thank the Tonys for choosing so many Jews to honor this year with special and lifetime achievement awards. James Lapine, who co-wrote Falsettos and Sunday in the Park with George. Some Jews become jewelers. This guy makes jewels. Speaking of jewels, Jules Fisher has been lighting shows since 1963, including the original Ragtime and Jesus Christ Superstar, but we won't mention that one. And Mazel Tov to the creators of the 152 Project, which helped bring diversity to design. The project's founders are Ken Lubin, Lauren Plotkin, a lawyer, and Jake Bell. I'm not sure if Bell is a landsman, but if he's not, he's adjacent. Perhaps the most unexpected Hebraic happening of this year's Tonys is that the ceremony will be hosted by pop star Pink. True, apart from 2 of her songs being in jukebox musicals, she has virtually nothing to do with theater. But who cares? Her mother's maiden name was Kugel, which sounds pretty sweet to me. So, even in these strange times, when Jews feel pressured to hold their peace and wish they were holding a peace, it's lovely that some Jews will be holding statuettes acknowledging beautiful creativity and craft. And that goes for all the nominees and anyone who contributed to the American theater this year. By entertaining people, you are doing the Lord's work. This has been a Rabbinical Reflection from Rabbi Sol Solomon, Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. Hamasach Oleh.